Kayleen Sánchez.
And I'm Laudon Schuett.
And we are
Bedlam! What are we talking about today?
So, next week, you are going to see a brand new music video of Adeu, desie, delyt, of delyt. And that is an anonymous, no, it's not anonymous this time.
Yeah, this is actually one of the not anonymous Scottish tunes from the 16th century.
That was collected by Kenneth Eliot and arranged, and then Laudon kind of rearranged those pieces for lute and voice. These would have been part songs originally, but could also be done with just one voice and lute accompaniment. So today we're going to talk about the pronunciation of Old Scots English for Adeu, desie of delyt.
Voulez-vous ir chanson composée et nouvelle des garçons des faubourgs qui aiment bien à boire. Dralin, dralin, dan, 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 dralin, dralin, dan, dan, dan.
All right, shall we get into it? Because this one's kind of confusing. There's weird spellings, there's weird sayings.
Yeah.
There's some great, lovely, what would you call that? Like if you're trying to I don't know, woo somebody with poetry. Like there's some excellent lines in here that I haven't heard before. And we'll get into that.
Like?
I don't know. Courting poetry. Maybe that's it. Like if you're trying to court somebody and you're trying to win their heart over, you know, those sort of wooing lines.
What's it called though when people try and do that now?
I don't know.
It's not catcalling.
What?
It's not catcalling.
No. I'm rolling down the street in my car and I'm like, how does thou be? You walketh fineth. No, that's wrong. You really shouldn't do that, first of all. And second of all, that's not what is happening in this song.
No, but
really
I can't think of what the phrase is.
I don't know. If it comes to you, spit it out.
Anyway, so in this piece, this was one of the first pieces that we did together. And when I first opened up the score, I was like, I'm probably just gonna kind of sort of transliterate, sort of make it into modern English. And then as I started looking through, I was like, oh, I don't think you can actually do that because there are just so many old spellings of words and old words that for a while I thought I was looking up, kind of a different spelling of a modern word, and then I found out that actually just was a word that was used during that time period, and so I decided that we should probably do original pronunciation, and that is why we are doing original pronunciation for all of these English songs and English Scottish songs.
Yeah, and I mean, when she says this is like the first song, Scottish 16th century tunes are our very first program, and that's what kind of sent us down the bunny hole for original pronunciation. So it's kind of cool to come back and look at some Scottish tunes.
Yeah, and you can find that album, by the way. This is on our first album.
No, it's not.
On our second album.
It's not on any album. We never record.
We just recorded it. Oh my God.
It's okay. Sopranos forget things sometimes, but that's why I'm here. All right, we have recorded this, and it's going to be released next week. But there are other Scottish tunes on our very first album, which was the repertoire we did. That's okay.
Doing great.
Battery power at about 33%.
Okay, thanks. So, if you look at these words, I'm just going to have them kind of going across the bottom of the screen.
Underneath. We'll put the score in the description, but we'll also make sure...
Can we put the score in the description?
I can PDF it.
I know, but...
Oh, copyright.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, we'll be good. We'll do just the subtitles. Good point. Not public domain. Don't steal stuff.
Okay, so the first line, it says Adeu, which is actually A-D-E-U, not like the French spelling A-D-I-E-U. So it's actually Adeu. And then what looks like desie,
Which at first you're like, is that a person? But it's lowercase.
Or did they leave an R out? But actually, it's an old spelling for daisy. O daisy of delight. And you may have heard in previous videos that the F of gets dropped off most times in Old English, but in Scots English, you pronounce it every single time. So we have Adeu o daisy of delight. And the I, that diphthong I, is much more spread in Scots English than in English. In English, we would say delight, but in Scots English, delight. A lot brighter, which actually is easier to sing in. So, alright, continuing on. Adeu, most pleasand and perfyt. Adeu and haif, gude, nicht. That's really cool because we have these words that are German words. You'll see nicht and licht.
Licht, yeah.
Sicht cool. Also. So that GHT ending a lot of times was just a CHT and would have been pronounced that way.
That was really neat. I'm a terrible speller, so a lot of these things I don't even notice. No, it's not true. It's very noticeable.
And if you try and put that in just like modern English, first of all, adieu doesn't even work because we don't use that word.
Yeah, I guess we don't.
No, we don't.
Unless we're trying to be fancy.
Right, which, I mean, I guess they're probably trying to be fancy, courtly love and all, but...
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. You should tell them about the lizard thing. That's pretty funny.
Yes. But before the lizard thing.
All right.
So, saying all of that without any accent, adieu, O daisy of delight, adieu, most pleasant and perfect. Adieu and have good night. It's just...
Yeah, had we changed all of that to sort of modernize it, it really would have taken a lot of the color out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why we decided to keep that in there. Okay, the lizard thing.
Right.
So, of course, this narrator is trying to woo the person that he loves, and so he decides to compare her, or actually to compare how her beauty feeds him to a lizard. So it says,
this is great.
First with the OP. Like as the lyssard does indeed live by the manus face. What's a manus? That's the first question I had. What is a manus? And then I realized that in Old Scots English, instead of apostrophe S, they would do ES or IS. So I would actually have been pronounced manus instead of man's face. So, like as the lizard does indeed live by the man's face. Like when the body is
decomposing. What a lovely image to woo somebody.
Then OP. Thy beauty likewise should may fade if we had time and space. Thy beauty likewise should me feed if we had time and space. Disgusting and so charming and endearing.
Very original, almost like 7th grade poetry. I really like it.
Yeah, I think an 8-year-old might be able to like.
Yeah, come up with something like that.
Okay.
I love you like a lizard eats things. Which is great. My dad's a herpetologist, so I was like, oh, this is awesome. A lizard reference. Oh. What?
It was a pickup line!
Jeez.
One of those really challenging phrases to remember.
I thought it would be something like aristocratic, but you were just thinking about a bar pickup line?
Yes!
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, this whole song is like
A
full of
pickup
just
line.
pickup lines.
Okay.
Like if a lizard does indeed live by the man's face.
Real professionals we are.
All of the R's, I've talked about hard R's versus flipped or rolled R's. In Old English, the R's are usually hard, but in Scots English, they're flipped all the time, which again is easier to sing. So we have remember in here, for example. So we get to say remember instead.
How would it sound in English?
Remember. Because the end ER, there we go, was actually pronounced R instead of So with the Old English, it would be remember. And with the Old Scots English, remember.
Cool.
Yeah.
Really neat. Well, you think that gives them enough to work with for next week?
I think that's probably good. I mean, I'll put the rest of the text just in the description, and you can try your hand at reading through this Old Scots English before the video comes out next week with the whole thing.
All right, remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week with a music video.
Bye.